Well, good morning. It is Paul Cappiello back again at UDAL. I'm out in the Arboretum today for the weekly tree tour, or virtual tree tour anyway. And since this week is Earth Day and Arbor Day coming up, I thought I'd just do a sort of general tree walk. One of the things I love about this time of the season, as you look around, is this is sort of the halfway season. You've got things like some of these magnolias here to my left that already bloomed, and now they're looking at all their glory, nice and covered with brown frozen flowers. But we can't really complain very much. We had a fantastic magnolia bloom season, but they're on the way. When they were on their way out, they got hit with a frost, so they're just waiting to leaf out now. But this is that great season when you're some things have leafed out, some haven't. You can see the crabapple just on the left there, just starting to put out some white flowers. But then off in the distance, all the European beeches, the columnar one, the weeping one to the right, and a few others, they haven't even started putting out their leaves yet. So it's kind of a great shoulder season. Right here in the center, Dawn Redwood, which is just fantastic in shape. I love the branching of it. But you really just get a nice variety, some nice dwarf witch's broom, sugar maples. That's a Theodore Klein selection. I believe that's Shawnee, kind of a globe, real tight selection. And then off to the south here, you see the dogwood collection that's just finishing up. They're just about done blooming, and there's not really many more coming. We got all kinds of sirens in the background today. I'm going to walk you back up into the trees a little more and show you a couple of cool ones. A week or two ago, we looked at this Kwanzan cherry, and you can still find a couple of blooms still hanging on in there. So you can see this one's had a nice long, really 2 week to even 2.5 week long bloom season. But I've come in here to take a look in the dark spot at this. This is one of the North American native buckeyes. This is Aesculus pavia, the red buckeye. This is kind of a small to medium-sized buckeye. It's not going to get as big as some of the others, but fantastic red color, a little bit of a kind of an orangey or a flesh color to part of it. It's tucked away in the shade here just because other things have grown up around it, but typically this is a plant that you would want to grow out in sun. And yeah, here we go. Here's a bloom. It's got a little bit more sun on it. Great if you've got any early hummingbirds. This is a fantastic one for it. It's usually loaded with early pollinators. It's going to make about a 20 to 25 foot tall plant, and blooms really reliably. Great color, and the other nice thing about it is that it holds its leaves much later into the summer. A lot of buckeyes sort of get beat up later in the summer, but pavia holds on quite well. All right, I'm going to walk you through under the shade of our hedge maple, Acer campestre. A couple you see out in front of me here, this is our small paperbark maple collection. You can see they're really late to leaf out. They're just beginning to show some leaves now. In the distance, the two coppery ones are the straight Acer griseum, the paperbark maple. The one right here is the hybrid. This is the Gerard's hybrid. It's a cross of Acer griseum and one of the other trifoliate maples. You can see the bark doesn't peel quite as much as griseum, but it's still an outstanding tree and grows a lot faster than straight paperbark maple. Here's a shot of the paperbark maple bark. Let's see how kind of coppery and exfoliating it is. But those will leaf out over the next week or so. Let's see a few other things. There's more magnolias. That's actually one of the Loebner magnolias up ahead there. That is one of the more durable ones that actually made it through the frost quite well and really didn't take it too bad. But over here on the left, it's a small tree you don't really see very often, but it's in full flower. It's a young specimen. This is the Korean mountain ash, Sorbus alnifolia. And when I lived up in Maine, the European mountain ash was quite popular, but it doesn't like our heat. But the Korean mountain ash is a really good, reliable performer. You can see nice glossy, sort of heart-shaped leaves. and it is just loaded with honeybees today. They're all out doing their thing. I'll back up a little so you can see the whole plant. And it makes about a 25-foot sort of upright rounded tree. As I said, this is just a young specimen, but Korean mountain ash I think is one always worth looking at because it's just a good reliable performer. All right, the last few, I'm going to take you out to another clearing in the Arboretum because there's a couple more that are just really super performers and I think could use a little bit more PR and a little more attention. Off in the distance here you see the dark burgundy leaves. I'll get out in the clearing where you can see them a little better. There's 3 specimens. This is a Japanese maple. Acer palmatum bloodgood is the variety. When I was a landscape architecture student at Rutgers back in the late 70s, bloodgood was the one to plant. It was a good, reliable, tough one. It holds it. We always learned that it held its color better than anything else. And honestly, 40 years later, it's still the case. I don't know of much out there that's better than bloodgood. We had a rough freeze in 2007 when these things are all leafed out and froze back every branch on them. A month later, they leafed back out and they're still doing great. They've been here for decades. And a lot of Japanese maples come and go, but bloodgood is just a tough one to beat. Nice panoramic shot of the Arboretum. And I'm going to finish up out here with this little guy. This is one of the compact dwarfish European hornbeams, Carpinus betulus. This is Columnaris nana. This is about as tight and dense as you get. It's about a 20-foot tall football standing on its nose, and this is not sheared at all. It's just the way it grows. Really tight, great for a formal spot. You don't see this one around very often, but it's kind of fun to look for because there's just nothing else on the planet that looks for it. We're going to go pick up a couple things in the nursery, but other than that, just kind of a nice little tour of the Arboretum this week for Arbor Day, Earth Day. Come on, every day's tree day around here.